Why would she write you a song? Ah, okay. So, all right. So, we've done roll call. So the past homework, just so you could get caught up, was due last Sunday, and that was module 4. So if you haven't done module 4, you're going to need that for today. So hopefully, when you buddy up for a little exercise, you will one of you in your group will have completed module 4 because you're going to need part of that to complete this course project or this little exercise. So that was due last Sunday. This Sunday is module 5. So we're going to go through the project, module 5, the SAM project on Thursday in class together. So um, that'll at least give you a head start. I don't know if we'll get through the whole thing, but you should complete the training and the exam before that, so you're familiar with the tools, um, and then we'll be ready to go on Thursday. Also, I will go over on Thursday how to do this, but your course project, the workbook that you sent in that had the list of measures and all the ways that you're going to be collecting the data, I want you to now submit it with 5 days of data. So now you need to start collecting the data, establish your baseline. So if you haven't already started on that, then you should be thinking about that like today. And then you'll be turning it in, I guess. Do we have 5 days till Sunday? Yeah, I guess suppose we do. So that's what you need to be doing. Any questions on that? I'll go over how to do that on Thursday. Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, use the same one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but unfortunately, I guess maybe I could do one real quick. Um, so let me just pull up one I've been playing with so I can show you what I mean. I will go through this in more detail on Thursday, but just real quick. So remember, this is the kind of cover page that shows your cause and effect diagram. What are the root causes? What are some solutions? Like Vincent's going to be working on, you know, what's your outcome? What would you call it? Okay, so that's what good looks like, is having a good hair day, perfect hair day every day. And the problem is that he's not having as many good hair days as he would like. So so he's identifying root causes, and so that's what you're going to do, and he's going to identify some solutions, like maybe use product, maybe maybe don't sleep. I don't recommend that one. Yeah, there you go. Don't have hair. That's one of our other students has gone with that solution. Yeah, he's shaved his head. So yeah. So we also have then the data journal. So this is what you're going to be collecting. So I've been starting to collect like my weight every day, and then I'm just now starting to track like what I'm doing, so you can see part of what I'm working on is diet and exercise. Basically, that's how you lose weight and then get back in shape. So diet, I'm keeping track of these things. Did I use portion control? Yes, no. Did I count how many fast food meals I've eaten? How much sugar I ate that day? The number of prepared meals eaten, and then so that's the diet side, and then the exercise. I have a way of calculating all the calories that I burn from exercise, because right, if I'm bad on my diet, I can counterbalance that with burning a lot of calories as long as I can stay healthy. So anyway, so I track that, and I'll show you how I made all these calculations on Thursday. But basically, that's what I want to see, is just you may not have as many cause variables as I do, but you need to start tracking those things. So, you know, Vincent might be, the outcome is measuring somehow you're going to have to measure the quality of your hair, like on a scale. Is it a good yeah. Yeah, I know in sometimes when people complain about getting bad haircuts, my understanding is that in Japan they like to measure everything, and including uh, when you get your haircut. So when you go into the barber, they record how much hair they leave on your head. I think they actually get out, measures, and so that way, if you want to have that same haircut when you come back, they have the measuring device to be able to match it every time. Yeah. All right. So hey, there you go. You just invented something. Someone coming up with a new product. Um, so that's what you're going to be doing is tracking these things. Some of you, if you're working on sleep, you'll be measuring your sleep quality and the number of hours of sleep that you got, or if it, whatever it is. What are some of the what are the things you guys are working on? What are the outcomes? Sleep. Yeah, sleep says the guy yawning. What else? Oh, weight gain. That's right. Weight gain. What else? Time management. Right. So you have to have some way of measuring all those things, and you have to be doing something to improve the quality of your time management. So um, whatever it is. All right. So that's basically what I'll be looking for on Sunday is just 5 days worth of data. So that means collecting all the outcome measures and then the cause measures. But again, I will go through an example on Thursday in more detail. Yeah, it'll be that one. I will show you how to do a line chart. It's really easy. Yeah. If you have data, you can do a line chart. Yeah. I mean, it's as easy as I'll just show you. Let's see. Where's my so let's see. I'm going to highlight the dates and then I'm going to highlight, hit the control button and the weight. And then I'm going to go over to insert recommended graphs. And there it is right there. So that's a line chart. But I'll show you again on Thursday. Yes. Uh huh. Uh huh. That is so. Is sleep the outcome or is sleep the? Yeah. No. Well, it could be. Yeah. Sometimes an outcome for one person might be a cause for another, right? So um, if you're, is it blood pressure? So if you're focusing on that, that's the outcome. That's the only measure that you have, unless there are other measures, systolic over diastolic, right? So then you're just going to measure the things that you're going to try to improve it, you know. And sleep might be one of them, to when you go to bed, the number of hours of sleep. So you would measure that, and that would be a cause measure because you're trying to change your sleep patterns. And then you have to ask. Remember about the five whys? Keep asking why. So you may want to ask again, Paul, why are you not getting enough sleep? Think about that. What's causing that? Uh, and then whatever it is it is it too much work? Is it time management? Is it whatever? You know. So and then you could track that. Um, all right. So other questions? A couple of reminders that you can still submit past SAM exams and projects for credit. So if you haven't done your past SAM exams, you can still turn them in. You're welcome. I know everyone's busy, and this is the beauty of having this automated assessment system is it allows you to get feedback immediately, and you don't have to wait for me to look at it and grade it. And anyway, this is a thing that robots do better than me. So office hours, if you have questions, thank you for those who've been coming by. But Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 10 and 1 to 1:30, or by appointment. And by appointment, so I'm usually around. I'm here Monday through Thursdays most days, and sometimes on Fridays. So if these times don't work for you, please make an appointment. Also, one other reminder: tomorrow, the enactus group. Do you guys know about enactus? Yeah. You're the president? Oh, well, do you want to tell us what's going on? It's in the student center. Oh, he's a Brit. Does he still have a British accent? Okay. um, and the lockbox, supposedly invented the real estate lockbox that. Oh, I'll have to. I'm curious to hear about that. So I'm planning on going to that myself. So you all are invited. Um, what? Yeah, I'll give extra credit if you go. Thank you, McKenna. So yesterday I was driving in and listening to NPR. Any of you listen to NPR? Know about NPR? It's pretty good. And Yuki Noguchi has been doing a series on student loans and student debt that is pretty big deal in this country. Is $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. That's like a lot of money. I don't even know what trillion looks like, but it's a lot. So they're doing a story, and so I got to think about the project that we did last week when you did. Do you remember in Module 4 you did the loan calculator for Camp Malowski, I think it's called. So why not practice on your own data for those of you that have student loans? How many of you have student loans? Oh, so you already know what your loan term is 15 years and $333 is your monthly payment. Okay. Do you know what your interest rate is? 7. Wow. That's high. Is it? You have a 12% interest rate? Okay. Do you know what you're going to be paying every month? Oh, so you're already paying even now before you're done. Interesting. So we are all going to be in different situations. So I just wanted to work through that exercise so you can see how it could be helpful to you. And I just thought that this was interesting that they are doing this series that can really cause people to have to delay a lot of things in life, like buying a house, you know, right? So the young people can't afford houses like they used to. Not that it was ever easy, but it's just so far out of reach for people that are under 30. All right, so I'll just play the first few seconds of this if it'll work. If not, then I'll just go on.
The size of the average student loan has nearly doubled over the past decade or so. Collectively, Americans carry more than $1.5 trillion in student loan debt, and some employers are seeing that as an opportunity. They're offering to help repay loans on workers' behalf as a way to attract and keep their talent. NPR's Yuki Noguchi reports.
Kelly O'Brien graduated from college 6 years ago with a political science degree and $28,000 in student loans.
It was stressful because coming out and having to have a payment of about $217 a month, it just seems like a lot of money to pay back when you don't really know where you're going to be working, how much you're going to be making.
O'Brien, now 27, wanted to save for a home or a wedding, but loan payments were her biggest roadblock.
I wanted to be debt-free before I got married and ideally come to the table with some savings.
Then, a year and a half ago, O'Brien joined Fidelity Investments in Irvine, California to work in client relations. She was told that after 6 months, she'd be eligible to have the company contribute to her loan payments.
So I quickly marked my calendar. I called my parents that night and told them how excited I was because I had no idea an employer would help you pay off your student loans.
Such benefits are relatively new and unusual. Only 4% of employers surveyed by the Society for Human Resource Management offer it. But you can see why it's increasingly popular, especially as school loans become a bigger shackle. Data suggests student debt is delaying or preventing people in their 20s and 30s from buying homes. At the same time, unemployment is low and skilled workers hard to find. Employers who pay down student loans are more attractive, especially to younger workers. Kim.
All right. So, what do you think? Hired by Fidelity and Investments, and yeah, it's not. It's kind of a new thing. The companies are starting to provide that as a benefit. If you go to work it's probably not the most glamorous job. I've worked with these financial services companies, and they have call centers. Have you ever worked in a call center? No, talking on those people you talk to on the phone. These taking information. So we're one of these things. But anyway, so they pay your student loan back, but you have to guarantee that you'll work for them for a certain number of years. I don't know how it works, and then if you decide to quit, then you have to pay the loan back. My understanding, or pay back whatever they paid in so far. So it's a good thing, bad thing, right? They pay for your loan, but then you're sort of shackled to the company. Hopefully it's a good company to work for, but if it's not, then it's not McDonald's. So anyway, that student loan debt is real. So I started thinking about, well, why did you guys go to college? Why are you here? What's that? Why are you taking out loans and putting yeah why are you so there's a financial reason for it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Is it having a degree a guarantee that you're going to make more money? No. not a guarantee, but does it increase your chances? Yeah. Have you ever seen any data on that? You've seen. Okay, so you've seen. Where have you seen it, Paul? $1 million more. Okay, we can probably calculate that out. So there is data on to back up your instincts or kind of what you come to believe to be true. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, you've heard of them, maybe? It's a government agency, and they, I think they're part the Department of Labor, so they're involved with the census, and they collect all kinds of data. So if you ever need data for a school project, this is a great source to go to, bls.gov. One of the great benefits that our government gives to us. So this shows the median weekly earnings and unemployment rate. Well, it doesn't show the unemployment rate in this chart, but it's just the median weekly earnings by educational attainment. This was in 2017. It's the most recent data that they have. And so what does it tell us? First of all, what's the median? The average? The most frequent. That sounds like the mode. What is it, Victoria? The midpoint of the midpoint, right? So that means that half the people in the sample of data make more than the median, and the other half make less. That's all. So it is the midpoint. So, like I said, there's no guarantee. But so, what does this tell us? So, if you have a bachelor's degree, these are weekly earnings, by the way. So, if you have a bachelor's degree, this is the median weekly earning for the population in the United States, which is, what does it look like? About $1,200, would you say? And how does that compare to high school? High school, no college, is what, about 700? So it's about $500 a month more or so, would you say? So just do the math in your head. And 500, how many weeks are in a year? 52. 500 times 52, what is that? 25,000 plus. What is a professional degree? The sports would, they blow it. If it's like professional sports, they would blow this chart away. No, it's like MD, law degree, Juris Doctorate, pharmacist, dentist. Yeah, probably. So you doing the math? $1 million. There it is, right there. That's your $1 million. So that's great. So it's worth about $1 million. So just on average, getting a college degree pays for itself, right? Because $1 million is a lot of money. I mean, it breaks down to $26,000 a year, but that's a big jump. It gives you a big jump. No guarantees, but that's what happens. So when you do your student loan calculation, that's the good news. The bad news is that when you're first out, sometimes the salaries aren't as high, and so it's realistic to take a look at what's going on. When I didn't take out student loans for my undergraduate, but for my graduate school, it was a private school. Anyway, I took out student loans, and I never really thought about, at that time, the mortgage interest rates were 14%, and the student loans you can get a loan for 7%, which seemed like such a good rate. It was like free money back then, and then I could get a little bit better place to live, and not have to worry about paying for trips or things like that, or so I just did it. And then when I was done, my first job was with the Department of the Navy, and I was just a lowly GS-9 civil servant. I think that my salary was $26,000 a year. It was my first job with a PhD, and that was nothing. And then guess what happens when you have to pay back your student loans? Yeah, it's like 6 months afterwards, depending on the loan, but the guaranteed student loans, they come after you in 6 months, and so the bills start piling up. Yeah, yeah, they charge you interest and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, and it's just like the credit companies, you know. Um, yeah, it's definitely a cultural thing. Even if the parents didn't go, my parents didn't go to college, and I had to go. Yeah, they will definitely go to college. Yes, they're going. Yeah. It is kind of a cultural thing. Although if my daughter came to me and said, "I want to, do a gap year, um, I don't know, whatever, join the Navy," I'd be okay with it, you know. So the Marines, I work with the Marines. Talk about culture. They're two totally different cultures. Even the Marines are part of the Navy, Department of the Navy. They ultimately report up to it, which makes them angry, you know. And yeah, they're but the good thing about I consulted to Navy organizations and Marine organizations, and the Navy they would get it done, and they would ask a lot of questions. The Marines, they would just get it done. They did not ask questions, but they were the first to get it done. Those people were the Marines. Definitely fun to work with. Okay, so here's what I want you to do is pair up with your buddies, and I want then for you to identify the following variables for your loans. What's the estimated total loan amount for each of you? Now, if you don't have a loan, student loans, you can use Kelly O'Brien's data. She has most of it. Or you can look up the national averages. There's averages for like what's the average student loan debt for an undergraduate degree at a private school. So and then what's the annual interest rate? Vincent's is 7. Some of them are 12. I heard. We'll have to figure, maybe just take an average of the interest rates that you have, and then what's the term? The payback time, and of your loan. So those are the same things that we used in, where was it? Module 4. So you just take an estimate. Let's see. Remember Module 4, Camp Malowski? So for those of you that turn this in, you will have your own version of a mortgage loan payment calculator right here. So all you'll need to do is identify the price. Actually, it's going to be the same thing. You're not going to have a down payment, but let's say your loan is $80,000. You estimate when you're going to be done. Let's say the rate is 7%, and the term is 15. That means that your monthly payment, which was the formula that we entered in, is going to be $719.06 per month. The only other thing that I want you to figure out is when you pay that $719.06 a month, that's cash out of your pocket, right? So that's, you're assuming you're making money. How much do you actually have to earn if you're taxed, your net is only 70%, right? When you get a paycheck, do you get everything that what do they take out for things like what do they take out for? Social Security, taxes, medical, right? Your health insurance. Well, that's good at McDonald's, but so you're just going to be estimating that it's 30%. So let me just, if you're making $100, or let's say your payment is $100, but you're taxed on that $100 at 70%. I mean at 30%. We'll call it a tax, but basically all those things that you talked about, Social Security, etc. So you're netted with how much would you have to earn in order to pay that $100 if you're taxed at 30% and you only net 70%? 100 divided by 70, so it's going to be so that means you actually have to earn in your paycheck $142 to pay it back. So if that number is, what was it? It was, is this the right worksheet? Where'd it go? Must be different. Here it is. 719. Thank you. Okay, so if it's that number is 719, or what was it? 700. Oh, and the number's so big that I have to spread my. So that means you have to earn an extra $1,000 in order to pay that 719 on top of your rent, your utilities. Yeah. Can you? He's been able to defer for 2 years. They might be charging interest. If it's, yeah. I don't know about the deferment. So I'm not trying to stress you guys out, hopefully, but realistically, I didn't have any of this information in my head, and I had kind of a general idea, and I was able to defer it for beyond the 6 months for a while, but they do eventually want their money, so a 7-year grace period. It's 6 months. You got 6 months to get your life together, and then it gets real fast. Yeah, that's what people do. So if you have a small loan, like what? if it's a well, you can figure it out. So if it's $10,000, do you know what the interest rate is? So Sahar, if it's $10,000 and it's 4.8%, and you're paying it off over 15 years, your monthly payment would be $78. So definitely how much you take out has a huge impact on how much you're going to pay. So what I want you to do is I want you guys to pair up with your buddies and fill out this worksheet. Just take a few minutes to pull up your own spreadsheets and fill this out. So the questions are, what's the estimated total loan amount for each of you? So if it's this year and you're going to be doing it for a couple more years, estimate what it is. And then estimate what the annual interest rate of your loan is going to be, and then the term. And then you could use that information, just plug it into the spreadsheet, and you'll be able to get all the answers that you need. The only thing that you'll need to figure out is how to figure out the net based on your net take-home pay, how much you need to earn per month in order to pay for that monthly payment, make that monthly payment. So hang on a second. Why don't you guys? Oh, you know what? Well, just use the national average, which is, you have to look it up. You'll have to Google it. You got what? Who's your partner? Your buddy? Why don't you guys work together? What? Who is? Are you guys going to work together? Why don't you guys? The two of you work together and you work with them? Okay. Here. Yes. 3C. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. All right. So let's take an example. I don't know. Let's see. Who wants to share an example of what their loan is? So what is it? What's the loan amount? So $119,000, $880. And what's the interest rate? 7. Okay. And what's the term? 15 years. So we got that. So your monthly payment is going to be $1,077.52. And the total interest that you're paying is $74,000 on that $120,000 loan. So over 15 years. If you pay it off faster, your monthly payment would go up, and then your total interest would go down, right, to $47,000. So, the faster you pay it off, the less you have to pay in interest. And I think most of these guaranteed student loans are penalty-free, paying them off early. All right. So your question was in the back, ladies. Your question was, how much extra do you have to earn? What was your loan amount? Yeah. So put in, so it's a kind of a lower end. So 25,000. What was the interest rate? 5.05. And how long do you have to pay that back? 15 years? Okay. So did you get a monthly payment of $198.15 a month? Yes. So that means if you have to pay $198, just look at the board up over here. You have to earn $283.36 to pay for that $198, right? Because you don't get to take home that that amount. You only get to take home 70% of that, and so 198 is 70% of 283.36. So you just take that number, this number, and divide by 0.7. So here's the formula up here: H2 divided by 0.7. So let's go back to Vincent's situation. So Vincent's taking a lot of money for and the interest rate is 7%. So that means that he's going to be paying back 197. He's making an investment of in effect, $197,000 in order to pay for your education over the course of that 15 years. Do you get a return on your investment? Well, Paul calculated earlier that the average salary of the median salary of someone with a college degree is earns $1 million more over the life of their career, 40 years. So is it worth it? I think so. Over the long haul, yeah, you're getting 4 times your investment, more than 5 times your investment. Or in this case, yeah, 4 times, 5 times your investment, right? If it's $200,000, your investment's $200,000, and you're getting back $1 million over the 40 years. Takes a while to pay it back, but just that's how banks work too. They play the long game. So, does that answer your question? It could be any. It could be any period of time. In this case, it's a month. Yeah, because we were just looking at the monthly payment. So if you have to pay out $1,000 a month, you have to earn almost $1,566 a month. Okay. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Maybe it was this class. I heard another thing on NPR. They're talking about innovative ways to attract buyers or tenants in Santa Monica, because it's so expensive to live like in those kind of areas that they're talking about. So and so is earns $75,000 a year. He can't afford to buy a home, right? And so what they're doing is they're creating like these ultra luxurious complexes where they have concierge and things like that. It's catering to people that are single, working, that are making a decent living, but still not enough to live in Santa Monica, and they're pairing them up so you get like a roommate. Yeah, it's an experiment, but we'll see how they're doing that. And I guess they're doing that in Europe and in some other cities, and it seems to be catching on. So they're trying it in LA. But in any case, I just was blown away that if you're single and making $75,000 and you still can't buy a place to live, that's tough, man. The hardest, yeah. So yeah, you're paying all that money in rent, but so why why don't you buy a home? What's the hardest thing about buying a home? The down payment, right? So what's an average home cost? I don't know. So you can buy a house for $400,000 inland, like inland, IE. Is that the IE, like Inland Empire type place? Okay, Merino Valley. So how much you have to come up? What's 20% of $400,000? What? We're just saying that you could buy a place in 80,000, right? So that's the typical down payment. I mean, that's what the bank's like, right? So that means you're going to get a loan for $320,000. What's an interest rate these days? Maybe 4 if you got good credit. And the term is what? 30 years typically? 30-year? Yeah. You know what mortgage means, right? Mortgage is like a blend of words like mort, which means death, and gage is pledge, or like the word engage, is engaged. So it literally means death pledge. Yeah. So 30 years. Most of us live longer than that these days, so fortunately. Yeah. So that means that your monthly payment, that's not bad, $1,500, so that's reasonable. That's like a rent. That's for the loan, yeah. That's assuming that you had that $80,000 to pay back. Let's say they do what's a low interest rate? 5%? What would that be? So that would be 20,000. So you're still paying a lot in interest. But if someone said that most houses like in these parts are 1.4 million. I don't know. I have no idea. That's cheap for Palos Verdes? I don't know. Here in Palos Verdes? 48 million? Okay. $48 million, that's a lot of zeros. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. The zombie property or ghost properties. I don't know what they call those. Um, well, your monthly payment. I don't know what this would probably be bigger. 48 million. Let's see, would be. Let's say you put. I don't know. What's this? 28. 20 million down. No, not 20 million. Just gonna put 2 million down. Your monthly payment would be $219,000 and 600. Yeah, I can't imagine. Those. If you're buying a $48 million house, you're probably not mortgaging it. You're probably paying cash. I don't know, unless you need the tax write-off. I think you can only write off the first million or so. So anyway, life is expensive, and when you take out loans, when you're starting out, when you're young, it can really hit you. It could be a sticker shock when you get out into the real world. So that means that when you're negotiating your salaries for your jobs, right, you should have that in the back of your mind. In effect, like they're hiring you and they're hiring you because of your education, right? And you paid for your education. And so, in a way, companies like Fidelity are like factoring that in, and they're paying, they're kind of paying for it on the back end. You've made the investment, you succeeded, and you're getting rewarded for that. You'll probably be seeing more of that, I think, as long as the economy stays good. What's the unemployment rate now? No, it's like below 4. It's like really, really low right now. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone that's working has a great job. We talk about the service economy, and a lot of people just waiting on everybody else, So that's what we're doing. We're talking on the phone. They don't always pay that well, but people have jobs. Like if you have a degree these days, you should be able to find a job, right? A few years ago it wasn't like that. During the Great Recession, college graduates were challenged. I I heard that there. I heard that yeah, there might be a downturn next year. No, no, I think that there is such pent up demand for talent out there that it'll be like that for years to come, unless something drastic happens to the economy. No, no. I mean, nobody can know the future for sure, but hopefully, yeah, it was bad. Yeah, yeah, that always helps. Yeah, my aunt Ronnie used to always said it's just as easy to marry a rich girl as it is to marry a poor one. And I was like, okay, Aunt Ronnie. Um, so yeah, that would be my recommendation. My recommendation is just be clear eyed on what your obligation is going to be when you're done. You know, and factor that in. Maybe you can negotiate it as part of your salary. If they're offering you $70,000 a year or whatever it is to start, $60,000 a year to start, say, hey, I got to pay back $7,000 a year just in my student loan. Why not $75,000? Negotiate it. It may give you some some bargaining power. Companies these days are really looking for good talent. They really are. And if it's a good company, they know what they're doing. So right now you're in the driver's seat. You may not feel like it, but you really are. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to do a little practical example. Can you guys hand in your worksheet so I can keep track of? I'll give you all credit for this. Um, thank you. No. So keep that Excel file, in your back back pocket. You may need it someday. There's a lot of loan calculators out there on the internet as well, but they're basically using the same calculation as this. This is the power behind it. All right. So for the remainder of the time, what we can do is I can help you with your course projects, and you can start on Module 5 practice if you want, or finish up your Module 4, or whatever module you're on that you haven't finished, and I can help you out with that. But that's it for the lecture. Oh, wait, I do want to show you one thing. In the So you're going to be submitting this to a discussion, and not everybody I know is familiar with the discussions. So if I go to, there's only one discussion right now, and this is the discussion for our class. And the way to submit a discussion is you click on the course project data workbook, and I give you the instructions of what you're doing. What you're going to do is start a new thread using your name as the title. And if you haven't started your workbook template, you can download it here. And then once you have completed it, then you're going to upload that workbook as an attachment. So, and then that's it. You can type in a comment, and then you're going to wait for your buddy to submit theirs, and then you're going to provide feedback to your buddy and answer these questions. Is your buddy focusing on the right solutions? Right, based on their diagnosis in the cause and effect diagram. What recommendations do you have for, if any? Like, Vincent's going to be doing, having a good hair day. So, do you have any recommendations for him? Who's your buddy, Vincent? Maybe it's Paul. You don't have any buddies? Marisol's. So, can you provide feedback to Vincent? And Vincent, can you provide feedback to Paul? Okay. All right, so you're going to provide feedback, and Paul might say, you know, have you thought about Paul Mitchell product? You know, it's a great name, Paul Mitchell. So what, you know, have you tried those products? Or, you know, so that might be some recommendations. And then are they right measures? So you're going to have to figure out how to measure your progress. So how do you measure good hair day? It's kind of a subjective measure. So you may have to put it on a scale from 1 to 10. And then are they the right measures to track progress on your solutions? Like, you know, are you trying product? Are you doing whatever it is to make your hair better, right? So that's where you're going to submit it. So here's a good example. So Victoria has submitted her project workbook. That's got her name up here, and Crystal is her buddy, and she looked at her workbook. So you do that by clicking on it, and this is her cause and effect diagram. But anyway, so you review that and you say things like, "Hi Victoria, I think you're focusing on the right solution based on what you read, and here's the feedback." That's what you need to do. Okay, so provide your buddy some feedback, and thank your buddy. Don't forget to thank your buddy, and that's it. Are there questions on how to submit it? Yeah, so pretty straightforward. So get that in this Sunday, because in addition, you're going to now need to add in some data as well into the discussion. Yeah, so you'll start a new thread. I could do one as an example. I could put Paul DeYoung. I don't even know if I need to type anything. Here is my project workbook. And then I'm going to click on Add Attachments, and I'm going to upload it. Click Open and post it, and there it is. And so if I had a buddy, I don't have any buddies. If I had a buddy, my buddy would provide feedback on, you know, what's in my project by taking a look at it. Not this is last Sunday's work, but yes, this Sunday's work you will have to add an additional line graph to it. Yeah. So if you haven't turned it in, just do it all at once. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, LinkedIn. If you want extra credit right now, you need to, if you have a LinkedIn profile, you can connect with me and connect with other classmates or whoever, but just show me that you're connected to at least 3 Marymount people. And then you should list these skills: MS Office, Excel, digital technology, and data analysis, because obviously MS Office is part of, Excel is part of the MS Office suite. And based on job search engines, if you have these words, digital technology and data analysis, as a skill, an endorsed skill, you're much more likely to be picked up by a recruiter. So I did a little research on your behalf, and I found that those are a couple of keywords that they're looking for. So I figure digital technology and data analysis is part of what we're learning in this class, right? So connect with 3 classmates and post proof. So what people are doing is they're just doing screenshots. Yep. And if you get all this, it's worth up to 3% of it. It is worth 3% of your grade. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have a 87%, that would bring you up to an A. Right. So that's the extra credit. Other questions? Okay.